Okay, everybody, so we're going to mute you and then unmute yourself when it's your turn to talk, please.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Positive Living Center. We're based out of Oakhurst, California. We're brought to you by Zoom Productions, so we get to speak and see people from all over the world. It is a fabulous, fabulous thing that we have for that. It is the third Sunday of the month, which means this is our Healing Circle service. We'll be enjoying that in just a little while. Welcome to newcomers. You have found us. Thank you for joining us. For those who haven't been with us for a while, welcome back as well. This is the year of manifestation. I hope that you are taking that very seriously to produce what it is that you want in your life by manifesting what it is that you do want. The themes this month: thoughts are always thinking. The creative mind is always creating, and we are always attracting. How about we get settled back and do a little meditation this morning and kind of let the Spirit come in to us wherever we are and surround us with love, peace, happiness. Let's go with me.
Let's settle into the silence within. In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Good is there. Peace is there. Truth is there. In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. God is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret hiding place. Love is there. God is there. In the silence, God is there. In the silence, God is there.
we continue daily to create, to have thoughts, to attract. So let us do so with positive attitudes towards all things. All things. We give great thanks for this, God, and so much more. And so it is. Thank you, Missy, for your music. It is time for our spiritual thought, and it gives me a great pleasure to introduce a man who is truly a minister all of his life, and a very, very dear friend of mine as well, and that is the Reverend Angelo Pizzo. Good morning, Angie. You need to unmute, Angie.
Thank God you didn't hear what I just said. I'm teasing. You are my dear friend. Anyway, it's fun to do this. And once I started looking at these themes, I had to stop debating the issue of whether thoughts really do think. But that's another thing, and I don't want to get into that right now. We can leave it up to Bob Hand. He can get into quantum physics and tell us how thoughts think. But anyway, the bottom line is thoughts are always thinking, and creative mind is always creating, and Angelo is always attracting, as the rest of us are. But what these themes really do for all of us, and we need to really pay attention to this, it shows us the overwhelming need that we must experience this human drama from that top floor of awareness, where fear and doubt and victim conscious cannot exist. We call it cosmic awareness, where only love exists. And I'll tell you why. We're going to go through that today. There are over 7 billion people on this planet, 7 billion. And research tells us that each individual thinks 66,000 thoughts a day. Think about this. We are confronted with over 400 billion thoughts going into the universe, expressing what our deepest thoughts are. Because when we focus on something, we with emotion, we tend to experience them in manifestation. 400 billion thoughts every day, even if it's a fraction of that, has an overwhelming effect on what we're experiencing every day. And then you add that to the creative mind is always creating, and we're always attracting. If you look at all that we're being bombarded with others' opinions, things that don't jive with our own ideas, the judgments of others, ideas that may be off the wall. It just drives you absolutely crazy and bananas. I love the CV19 experience, because what it does, it shows us that we need to look at everything from a different perspective, not as a person that's under the domain of what's happening to us. That the processes and the experiences and the effects have power over us. They don't have power. We know there's only one power and one presence. That's who we are, the incarnate life force that we call God. That's the only power that exists. We shouldn't give power to all this nonsense, this noise that we are bombarded with 400 billion thoughts and everybody attracting, and it overwhelms us. So the importance of this month is to convince us not to be absorbed by what's going on. We're here to experience this human drama, to learn and grow from it, not to absorb it and to let it insidiously take control of our lives. And so if you add that to all of the different climate changing, the forces of nature, the viruses, and all these other things, the opinions of others and the judgment call, my gosh, that they're raining on our parade. The raining of all this noise on our parade. And I want to keep that in mind, because that's a metaphor that I'm going to use today, I think, if I get to it. So the choice is ours. How are we going to experience this human drama? Are we going to experience it by default? And what that means is, and the prime purpose of most people on this planet, over 90% don't even understand any of what we're talking about. They don't rely on this nature that we really are. They've never discovered it. And unfortunately, they leave the planet thinking that you're born, you die, and you pay taxes. They never achieve their awesome spirituality that they are, the power that they are. So the choices are, am I going to experience this human drama in default, allowing everything that's going on to take control, insidiously take control of my thought processes, to overwhelm my thinking process, to edge the idea of spirituality and God out of my experience? No, and the opinions of others also. So we need to take a look at that. Or am I going to experience it by design? I'm going to experience this drama because I'm going to learn from it. I'm here to enjoy the experience, not to have pain coming through my life, to let it dominate me, just to enjoy the experience, to be that spiritual entity. I'm an incarnated life form of the divine. And that's the truth of my being. So I'm going to identify with that every time, every moment of this experience that I have. And so what does that all mean? It means that I'm going to experience it by design. And that means that I'm going to experience it as that life form of the divine, experiencing what's going on as Angelo Pizzo, as each of us. That's who we are. And we're not going to allow what's going on to not only dominate our thought processes, but to have people call us and say, oh my God, have you heard what's going on? Is this true or is this not true? And all the other nonsense and all the noise that we experience. So we shouldn't edge God out of our experience. We need to focus. I personally am meditating a lot more every day because of all this. And so the bottom line is that we have the power of choice. How am I going to experience this? And I think the major point is brought to us by the creator of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes. And he gave us the idea of thinking through in conscious, what's next? What is next? And no matter how old we are, the unknown always knocks at our door. Our dear friend Bob Hahn expresses himself, and he says the Big Bang is still going on, that we're going to experience newness. We're going to experience all this information. Some of it we may agree with, some not. But we are that creative energy that's going to benefit from the experience, and we're going to evolve from the experience. And therefore, we need to realize that we need to identify that which we are when we go through these experiences and start accepting the fact and the idea to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Isn't that interesting? Because if we really realize that we're being bombarded by 400 billion thoughts going into the universe, it's overwhelming. Even if a fraction of that occurs, just think of how busy we are in consciousness trying to deal with this human drama. But I think the human drama is a benefit to all of us. And we need to realize that all of this stuff's being rained upon us. But we're in a storm of opinions and judgment and fear and doubt. And what happens when we get into a rainstorm? What do we need to do? We unfold our umbrella, for goodness sakes. And I've been thinking about this a lot. It came to me this morning, actually, and I was excited about it. I says, Stella, I've got a metaphor for today. Whatever happens, I'm going to use a metaphor that we experience a rainstorm of opinions, of judgment calls, of anger, of fear and doubt. And what do we need to do? What is the metaphor? We need to open up our umbrella because it's a shield that protects us, to protect that shining light that allows us to really shine the light. So I thought about it this morning, and I thought, I get a lot of calls from people who are really upset about what's going on. By our leadership, by the virus, by the number of people in the hospital and all that. And that's their focus. They call home about it. They call me about it. They call our minister about it. They need treatment work. But it's not, it's simpler than that. There's no steps to go through. It's just a matter of identifying who we are and being that creative life force. And what that means is we need to open up our umbrella. So I thought about that, and I thought the next time I get a call where people are really concerned about all this nonsense, this noise that's going on, I need to ask one question: where is your umbrella? And maybe we need to ask that of ourselves as well. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Angie. Yes, where is my umbrella? That is a great metaphor. I love it. I've been this month I've been studying Dalai Lama, and from reading the Dalai Lama, I have this true happiness and peace within me, and I use that as my shield, if you would, every day, about peace and happiness. And that's where I like to start my day. And you remind me of that so much, Angie. Thank you. Very, very nice. It's time for some music by the Reverend Missy Higginbotham. Missy.
Good morning. Good morning. What I have this morning is a song that I used to sing up a lot at United Church of Religious Science back in, long time ago, in Dayton, Ohio. And it was always one that reminded me of community and family. We would sing it at the end. We join hands, and that's what I want you to think metaphorically about, joining hands and hearts, and because PLC is that type of community where we join hands and hearts. It's called Weave. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key. But we are all playing in harmony, in one great symphony. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. A moment ago, still we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets the Christ in thee, in one great family. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together, together in love.
Thank you, Missy. What a perfect song for this time of in our lives. We do need to unite, not only in America, but across the world. And that song just made me think of that. That's something we need right now, to remind ourselves that we are all in this together. We are. Beautiful. Thank you so much. it's time for our main speaker. And our main speaker this morning is the Reverend Kim Haley. Good morning, Kim. Take yourself off of mute for me. You're muted, Kim.
How's that?
There you are.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah, because
Yeah.
something was going on with my sound this morning. But anyway, good morning, present moment adventurers. I was a little discombobulated this morning and I thought I'd be here. I was actually sitting here at 9:45. And then I sort of thought I'll do a quick run through and got here a little late. But I'm so happy I got to hear Angie. And I believe that about the umbrella. You know, the umbrella is very important. And I've got these two questions that I asked I think a month ago. And it's, again, I want to know, do you love yourself? And what's going right with your life right now? Those are two questions. They're just reminders. They're just a reminder question. And you can ask them when you need to get into the present moment, because it helps me to get into the present moment when I ask those two questions. What's going right with your life right now? And you can ask at any time, day or night. And remember, there's no answer that is necessary. You just listen to what happens when you ask those questions. Just listen. And now I want to do something, and I know that they're here, so Carmen and Craig are here. I'd like you to close your eyes. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile, dwelling in the present moment. I know this is a wonderful moment. Anytime you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes again, or you can keep them closed. It's fine with me. Our appointment with life is in the present moment. And here's a little thing called thinking less. Well, we practice conscious breathing. Our thinking will slow down. And we can give ourselves a real rest. Most of the time, we think too much. Angelo said, I don't know how many millions of thoughts, but we think too much. And mindful breathing helps us to be calm, relaxed, and peaceful. It helps us to stop thinking so much and stop being possessed by sorrows of the past and worries about the future. Of course, thinking is important, but quite a lot of our thinking is useless. All of what I have just said was written by Thich Nhat Hanh, a monk from Vietnam, and it came from his book, Peace is Every Step, The Path to Mindfulness in Everyday Life. I was made aware of this book by a young woman named Carmen, who hired me to be an officiant for her and her fiance Craig's wedding, which took place this past July 17th, 2021, in Poconoby Resort, I'm hoping I say that right, Mary Lake in the Mammoth Lakes area. I was already intrigued by the prospect of doing her wedding as we started it with the above meditation. It was a wonderful collaboration, and I felt very honored and happy to get to be the officiant. However, I happened to begin my writing of the ceremony with an old habit of mine, overthinking. So having bought the book by Thich Nhat Hanh, helped me to remember my training and my meditation and the teachings from the PLC. I also believe that this was a great gift and an opportunity for me to allow myself to enjoy the creative process of developing and writing the ceremony. My fear was also pushed back, realizing in the moment how much I enjoy this, how much I do enjoy performing this role, and the uplifting experience of celebrating human beings for something so wonderful as love and togetherness. So thoughts are always thinking, creative mind is always creating, we are always attracting. So what do we talk about when we talk about creativity? And the creative mind is always creating, thoughts are always thinking, and we are always attracting. In the Science of Mind book, Ernest Holmes, creation is giving a form to the substance of mind. And to be conscious is to create. Just to be conscious is to create. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. Just be conscious. Whether you and I are aware of this is another matter entirely. There is consciousness and there is awareness that there is consciousness. This is where we are always attracting comes from. More about that later, because I'm going to go somewhere else first. And there's always the unknown, which is really what is always running in the background of our lives. When we feel that the unknown loves us and only wants the best for us and not all that crazy making drama, well, things begin to feel a whole lot better. I feel a whole lot better. This is for us, it's for us. In the mind, again, from the Science of Mind book, the only proof we have of mind is that we think. Actually, there is no such thing as your mind, my mind, his mind, her mind, or God's mind. There is just mind. Like this look like an M to you guys? Just mind. And it's with a capital M. And as God always was and always will be, everything is God. It's all God. And now thought is also, by the Science of Mind, the movement of consciousness, the movement of consciousness. We have conscious mind, spirit, and unconscious mind, the soul. The soul is the receptive, the receiver mind, and is bound and only able to receive. The soul simply receives what the spirit casts into it. This is from the Science of Mind. And universal mind is the creative medium of spirit. So I'm going to talk a little bit now. I'm going to move on a little bit from that. Just let that float in the background for a while. Julia Cameron wrote the book, The Artist's Way, The Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity, a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. She shares in this book a course that she taught 12 consecutive weeks. There were one course a week. And it's been a saving grace for me and many others, and a real boon to a new relationship with God energy for me. And she says, creativity is actually your God self working through you. And you know this when you align with it. Most of what we get or got conditioned to believe God to be or was or still is keeps us from discovering and recovering, kind of blocks us. But thank goodness we were guided by an inner tug to the PLC and to books such as this. You know, thoughts like, God wouldn't like it if you did that story or you expressed that way. God will smite you if you say that, or you'll burn in hell. Well, that last one, you'll burn in hell, was taken off the table by one of the recent past popes. He said there's no hell, only our minds. So when we are blocked, we are in essence blaming God. And Angie was talking about God. I caught some of it, Angie. I didn't catch it all, but I caught some of it. And It isn't God. It is the misguided conditioning of humans that has us all bound up and not in love with God or life. It had me all bound up. Anyway, I really had a problem for years. But if you read Rumi's poetry or Hafiz's poetry, they had a love affair with the beloved, which was God. And here's a poem that I want to read to you. It's by Hafiz. He was a Persian poet from the 13th century, 1320 to 1339. And it's from a poetry book called The Gift. And it's titled, "And for No Reason." And for no reason, I start skipping like a child. And for no reason, I turn into a leaf that is carried so high, I kiss the sun's mouth and dissolve. And for no reason, 1,000 birds choose my head for a conference table, passing their cups of wine and their wild songbooks all around. And for every reason in existence, I begin to eternally laugh and start dancing, to eternally laugh and to love. And when I turn into a leaf and start dancing, I run to kiss the mouth of our beautiful friend, and I dissolve in the truth that I am. That feels better to me. I hope you enjoyed it. That was a creative endeavor for the love in his heart, for the receptivity in his heart to God energy. And of course, we all have our own direct experience of what that might be. And we only need to be open to it. Now, if you'll indulge me a little bit more, I have some basic principles that were taken from Julia Cameron's book. And I have a sheet, there's 10 of them, 10. And I think it's worth me reading them about creativity, because that's a really big, important issue for me. And I really, really want to share this with you. So number 1 is creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy, pure, creative energy. Number 2, there is an underlying, indwelling, creative force infusing all of life, including ourselves. Number 3, when we open ourselves to creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us and our lives. We ourselves are creations, and we in turn are meant to continue creativity by being creative ourselves. And I get lost 5. Creativity is God's gift to us. Using our creativity as our gift back to God. 6, the refusal to be creative is self-will and is counter to our true nature. 7, when we open ourselves to exploring our creativity, we open ourselves to God. Good, orderly direction. 3 things. Good, orderly direction. 8, and as we open our creative channel to the Creator, many gentle but powerful changes are to be expected. 9, it is safe to open ourselves up to greater and greater creativity. And 10, we made it. Our creative dreams and yearnings come from a divine source. And as we move toward our dreams, we move toward our divinity. And I'm going to repin these up because I used to have them up and I hadn't for years, and I'm going to revisit and use those. There's also a quote by Peter, and I cannot say his name properly, Coestonbaum. Doesn't matter, you can't see what I can. But it says, creativity is harnessing universality and making it flow through your eyes. It's harnessing this amazing power. So now, let's see, I have some more stuff to say now. I actually tried to cover all the topics. So the last topic is, we are always attracting. And, you know, these topics are deep in themselves and they require probably a lot more time, but this is just a kickstart. This talk is just a kickstart. So for We Are Always Attracting, I was drawn to Abraham Hicks, and there was a channel talk on YouTube from 2020. And it says, we are always attracting. We are vibrational beings. And your emotions let you know in this moment what you are broadcasting with your mind, with your thoughts, and with your words. Whether it matches who you really are and all that you have come to. The great unknown can be reached in the stillness of now, in the acceptance of the moment, not yesterday, tomorrow, but now. How do you approach your now signal? Was a question that you put out there. How do you approach your now signal? And most of us do not recognize that we are vibrational beings, transmitting and receiving mechanisms in a universe that is managed by the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is managing the vibrational frequencies of the universe. And we are vibrational beings. And you know you are a vibrational being first and foremost, and that you are always transmitting a signal, whether you are aware of it or not. And whatever you are giving your attention to is causing you to transmit that signal. Law of attraction is matching the signal that you are transmitting, not yesterday or tomorrow, but now. Which brings me to a story, and it's reminiscent of the story that John Lalonde actually shared with us about last week about Vivian and her reuniting with a brother and family she was separated from when she was given up for adoption to another family. I spoke to Vivian yesterday and John. The timing was beautiful and much synchronicity was involved in that story. And I was really moved by her story and how lovely John related it in his spiritual thought last week. And wouldn't you know it, another synchronicity appeared, because on Monday, my friend Todd brought home a DVD with the movie, The Lion, L-I-O-N, on it. And it's a true story about a 5-year-old boy in India named Saru, who gets lost on a train traveling away from his home and family in India. Frightened and bewildered, he ends up thousands of miles away in chaotic Kolkata, or AKA Calcutta. He somehow survives living on the streets, escaping all sorts of terrors. And that's a heaping mass of humanity there in Calcutta. And he's escaping all sorts of terrors and close calls, and in the process, before ending up in an orphanage that is not exactly a safe haven. Eventually, or shortly after, Saru is adopted by an Australian couple. I don't know if you've seen this movie, but I'm just going to say as much as I can, but it's worth watching even if I tell you stuff. I don't know if this is a spoiler alert or not, but he ends up being adopted by an Australian couple and flown to Australia, and he finds the love and security that he needed and grows up in Hobart in Australia. And as an adult, he didn't want to, it's probably in his 20s now, yeah. He didn't want to hurt his adoptive parents. And so he had some feelings that he felt that he must suppress his past and his emotional need for reunification and his hope of ever finding his lost mother, brother, and sister. but they say by chance, but by that vibratory signal inside of him that would not go away and would not rest, he met some other fellow Indians living in Australia, going to school where he was going to school. And it reawoke a lot of his buried memories of when he was 5. And he was armed only with a handful of memories. And they told him about this revolutionary technology called Google Earth. So he went onto Google Earth and he started this really in-depth search and went back to how long would it take for a train that he might have been on back in those days at that time to get from here to there. And he did all of that, and he put all of this and collated all this information. And he set out to find his family and return to his first home. He was very determined. And he set out that sort of vibration and signal. This movie was written by that man, Saru, now in his 20s, and it was up for about 6 Academy Awards in 2017. But needless to say, it's a wonderful example of some truly loving people of understanding and joy. And his adoptive parents were amazingly understanding. They loved him so much. And that brings me back to Thich Nhat Hanh's book, and something that I was made aware of by Carmen in the book is that understanding and love are not two things, only one. When you understand, you cannot help but love. And he was so fortunate to be loved so well by his adoptive parents and his mother. His mother searched, and his brother searched for him all those years. She was maybe convinced he was still alive and okay. So she prayed too. She prayed for his return. So what happens is this energetic vibration and attraction, guiding and aiding them all in the story of reunification. And that we are more powerful than we know. And our light shines ever brighter when we align our vibrational energies and attract what we are looking for. And we allow it to find us. I'll end this talk with a short excerpt from another Hafiz poem. And I dedicate it to you all. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for reminding us too of what is important to us. What is important to us as individuals, and to turn to God and reunite with that makes us happy, and to explore life with God always. It's beautiful, beautiful stories. Thank you so much. It's time for our healing circle. And I'm going to ask Reverend Sandy to help guide us through this time. Reverend Sandy.
Thank you. For those who haven't done this before, we do this on the 3rd Sunday of every month. And we begin with the ministers and practitioners in prayer. And then we ask anyone who has anything that they need a healing on to speak it, unmute and speak it. And we all pray on it, and it has such marvelous results. So please be a part of us today. So Angie, if you'll start us off, please.
Thank you. Will do. As we go within, we focus on my favorite metaphor for today. We open our umbrella, and that umbrella is the identification that we have that each one of us is a life form of creative energy of God itself. And therefore we're superior to everything and anything that confronts us on this human drama. Therefore, our physical body is the expression of that tremendous loving healing energy of God itself. That is whole, is complete, and we accept that right here and right now. The acceptance that every cell in our body radiates the perfection of the divine, because we are the divine. Every organ in our body functions in perfect order. We're so grateful for that. So we realize that for everyone here now and everybody in the prayer circle, that we are that perfect, healed, loving energy of God itself.
And we know that that energy of God itself is radiating out and touching all that are here and all that are connected to our circle. That every thought in the person's heart is known by God here now in this present moment, because all moments are present. There is no future, no past. It's all happening now. And everybody's thoughts of healing, our needs or requirements are here present in the circle. And God is here present. And we know that God is doing its perfect work now in this moment for all needs, all requirements, and all is in divine order, and all is being pictured perfectly now in this moment. And we offer it into the law now, knowing that all is well and in divine order. So be it, and so we let it be so, and so it is.
Okay, if anyone has a need today for a healing, please unmute and share it.
I ask for all of your prayers and treatments for divine right action for my cousin Linda Blackburn, who lives in Nashville, who's had a challenging last 3 weeks, and to see her in the perfect form of God and directing her life in whatever is best for her.
It is done.
It is done.
I also ask for healing prayers and positive energy for Jonna Lewis, Reverend Jonna Lewis, who was taken into the emergency room about 2 days ago for some severe pains in her stomach area. So I know that we all have the power to send her healing light and energy. Thank you.
Done.
It is done.
It is done.
We have time, so if you have anything to heal or prayer to add, please unmute and share.
If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other.
So it is. Anyone else? Then know that in this moment, all healing is accepted and granted. That we each come to this world to learn and to evolve and to heal. It is important, very important, that we offer these things up and no longer hoard them within ourselves, that we offer them up to God's source, that we offer everything to God, for there is only God. And in this knowing, we can each accept our divinity, and in our divinity, anything is possible. I accept that we each reach out and accept our highest divine potential. For the world is a better, more loving place, because each of us is here and our hearts are open. Go forth this week and spread your heart, sharing, looking people in the eyes, smiling, greeting, loving, allowing this cloud of love to evolve around you and flow with you everywhere you go, anointing all that it comes in contact with. We each are this presence and this power. And this power of love is unlimited. Become your unlimited highest divine potential as we each here accept it for each of us. And in this moment of love, in this open-heartedness sharing, I give such grateful thanks for all that is ours. And say with me, please, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Sandy. Thanks to you who have shared this morning at this wonderful time in the Healing Circle. It's time for our offertory. Will you please say the offertory prayer with me? Divine love flowing through me. Blessed
And increases.
all
Okay.
and all.
Well, there we see.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank everyone for your time, your monies toward the PLC to pay the bills, keep our wonderful building looking great. We look forward to going back into our building someday. I know that will happen. If you need to know how you can tithe, if you look in the chat box, you should see the methods for being able to send your tithings there. And thank you again for all the gifts. Your work there at the center, the work with as our board works together, and for all those who come together because of PLC. Thank you. It is time for announcements. Anybody have something they want to share? Wow, that's fantastic. I think everybody feels like they've shared up already. Good for you. Next week's speaker is the Reverend Jenny Evans. We look forward to hearing from Jenny next week. And let's do the prayer of protection, please. The light of God surrounds me.
Me.
The love of God influences me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is. And all is well.
Well,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Reverend Sandy, would you give us a closing prayer, please?
Oh, beloved source, I feel you in my heart, and I share this with everyone here. Open your hearts and receive source. Receive God in you. Allow it to be this divine energy, this divine manifestation, this divine way of living. For it is a lifestyle choice to be loved, to share love, to make a difference in your world, to go out smiling and engaging people in smiles, to go out helping and coming together in community, to be all you can be every day in every way. I am so grateful for our family and for our coming together. And say with me loud and clear, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
it is.
Thank you all for joining us today. Beautiful service, great time with everyone as usual. We will see you again next Sunday. Have a wonderful week.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Have a good week.